yours truly, Hales, and let's get going on episode 10. On a serious note, I just want to say thank you to every single one of you who is watching my videos every week and supporting me and sending me so much love. I can't even begin to express how much this all means to me, and I love every single one of you. Thank you so much. Without further ado though, let's go with confession 10, and it's very interesting because I learned a new word, guys, and you're never gonna guess what it is. I'll give you a second. Okay, go ahead, guess what word it is. Oh, you didn't get it? It's no. No. No, no, no. N-O, no. It's no. Now, you're probably like, yes, Haley, we all learned how to say no when we were 1 year old. Yes, okay, I get it. I get it, everyone does. However, I didn't learn until I was 24 years old what no can do for you and how to use it correctly. I grew up in a society and in a world where no really didn't mean much, and you shouldn't use no because you're gonna come off as rude or disrespectful and people aren't going to like you for it. I remember growing up and being told that if you tell someone no, you're being selfish. Like if you say that you can't help someone out because you're too tired, that's selfish. When in reality, looking at it from a 24-year-old's perspective, that's not true at all. It's the complete opposite of that. I didn't learn how powerful that word was until now in my life because I've had to relearn what it means to say no and why it's not selfish and why it actually changes your life. So let's flash back to young Haley. We know her, we try to love her, she's a delicate wildflower, so let's go back to her. Like I said, growing up, I didn't know what no meant. I thought that you just say yes to everybody whenever they ask anything of you, and that was it. Like that's just what you need to do because that's part of being a good person. I was constantly running on E. I never told myself yes. I was just always outwardly saying yes to everybody else, whether it was for my time, whether it was for my effort, whether it was for my resources, whatever it was, I was constantly saying yes. My time was constantly being eaten up by kids or by other obligations or friends or traveling. Whatever it was, I was constantly doing things to appease other people because they've asked me to do it, and I felt too bad saying no. Flash forward to where we are now, I had to go through some crap, and when I say crap, I mean some pretty hard things to learn that if I don't start saying no to people and I don't start setting boundaries, I'm going to end up in situations where I should not have any part of. So I'm not going to waste your time with a whole bunch of stories of me not saying no and how I should have. However, I will just really put this point out there. As I got older and I entered the relationship phases of my life, whether it was with boys or with friendships or with family members or coworkers, I started to realize that if I didn't set my boundaries, then people would suck me dry and not ever give me anything back. It was about when I was 22 years old that I started to really see this full force. And it came into play more so with friendships, but also with relationships, and again, the coworkers and family members that I was talking about. I started to realize that I was saying yes to anything that other people needed or wanted. If people needed me to be their human punching bag, yup, there, I'll listen to every single one of your problems, help you fix them, and never, ever ask you for anything in return. If you needed to borrow $5 from me to go buy food for yourself, absolutely, here, take 10, don't even send me the change, and I'll never ask you for money back. If you need me to dedicate an hour of my time to help you plan for your lesson that's coming up that I'm not even going to be a part of, yep, absolutely, let me be there, and let me never, ever, ever, ever complain about the fact that I had to help you or ask you for your expertise back. You need me to dog sit for you, but you have absolutely no time to come to anything of mine? Sure, no problem. Don't even ask again. Twist my arm, I'm there. That's who I was. That's how I ran my life, and I thought that was okay. It got to the point where I was saying yes, and I was putting myself in situations with people that I was not comfortable with and I was not safe in. I'm not going to go too much into it because quite honestly, I don't really want to, but I will say that it got to the point where I was saying yes to people that I had no business saying yes to, and I did not set my boundaries strong enough for them, and as a result, I ended up getting taken advantage of or thrown to the curb or not cared about, and it left me empty. I started getting super depressed. I started feeling very lonely. I felt as though I had nothing in my corner because I was constantly giving every little bit of myself to other people. Again, whether it was my time, my resources, my heart, whatever it was, I was constantly giving it to other people by saying yes instead of saying no for myself. When I was 23 years old, I was at rock bottom. I felt as though I had no energy left. I felt as though I had no friends left. I felt like I had no money, no place to go, and it was my own fault, and I realized that. I remember looking in my mirror one day and just seeing how sad I was, and I'm like, you don't even deserve to be sad about this. You've done this to yourself. You are the one who keeps saying yes. I ended up calling my best friend and just crying to her on the phone and just saying, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what is it that I'm doing that lets people look at me as I'm a doormat, or see me as if I don't have a backbone and I will just do anything and everything that they want me to do or need me to do in a given moment and give me nothing back in return. She ended up saying, you know what, Hales, like, you have no respect for yourself. You don't set your boundaries clear enough, and you're saying yes. Say no. Learn to say no. I just remember hearing her say the word no and just automatically cringing, because again, those old beliefs that I grew up in is that I have to say yes, I have to be there for everybody else. But she was right. If I don't start saying no every now and then, I'm going to have less than nothing. I will have negative value to myself, and then what am I left with? What do I have left for my life? I decided in that moment that I was done. I was done saying yes to everybody. I was done doing everything for everyone else. I was done being the human doormat, because I have respect for myself. I know how to set boundaries. I know how to say no, but I'm choosing not to. And this is a common theme in life that's not only applicable to me in my life, but to kids. And again, because I work with kids, I see it. We're teaching the youth of our society to say yes to everyone just to spare their feelings, or to make yourself look better, or to make it so you don't look selfish or rude or whatever the case is. And it's the complete opposite of that. We look worthless. We look like we don't have value. We look like we don't know how to respect ourselves enough or love ourselves enough to say no. So I started to say no. I stopped hanging out with people on the weekends when I didn't have any energy to go out. I stopped talking to boys that, quite frankly, didn't even notice that I stopped talking to them. I stopped volunteering my time for things that I had no purpose for or no drive for, or meant nothing to me. I stopped giving people money. I stopped giving people my clothes. I stopped giving people the time of day that didn't even deserve it. And as a result, yeah, it ticked a lot of people off. It turned people against me. It made them say, you know, you're a really bad friend for doing that. But I know I wasn't. I know that I wasn't a bad friend for telling them no because I didn't have the time or I didn't have the energy. I was being better to myself, and I was loving myself, and I was saying yes to me instead of someone else. And I think that's a huge takeaway from this week's confession is we need to stop living in this mindset that we have to constantly say yes and we have to constantly do for other people. We've all seen the memes and the pictures on Facebook or Instagram where it says you can't pour from your empty cup. If you have an empty cup, you can't give somebody else anything. And that's a lesson that I've had to learn over the past year is if I don't have anything to give and if I don't start saying yes to myself, I can't say yes to other people. And the opposite of saying yes is saying no. So in order to give to myself and say yes to myself, I'm going to have to say no to other people. And I have to say where I am in my life now since I've started saying no is a 360 from the girl I was a year ago. I have more time for my own passions and my hobbies, and I'm happy. I feel good. I don't feel alone. I feel as though I have all the time in the world to spend with the people that mean the most to me, and I wouldn't want it any other way. So this week's confession is just to let you know that it's okay to say no, and don't feel guilty about it. Don't feel like you're doing somebody wrong. It's okay. If you need to say no to somebody, that's okay. On the flip side of that, be okay hearing no from people. We're also taught that if someone's telling us no, we're not loved enough, or we must not mean anything to them. And that's not true. Just because someone says no to us does not mean that we mean anything less to them. It's just they can't give to us if they don't give to themselves. Try this week to say no to somebody that you've been saying yes to for too long and just feel how good it feels. It might feel a little weird at first, but I promise when you have that time back to yourself and you're saying yes to yourself, it's going to open new doors and it's going to be a positive reinforcement where you want to continue doing that for yourself. So that's it, guys. I'm sorry that I didn't have more funny content, but I really needed to put this out there because I'm seeing this issue over and over and over again with people that I love. And all of you need to learn to say no, just like I did. I'm not perfect at it by any means. I have a long ways to go, but we need to all start learning to say no and being okay with it. Please, please, please continue sharing these videos. Make sure that you're giving them to people who need to hear it. I know that there's someone in your life who needs to learn to say no. You're not the only one. I know I'm not the only one, so let's get sharing it. I can't wait to see you guys next Thursday on Miss Confession with episode 11. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week, and thank you for tuning in to Miss Confession this week. Bye, guys.